On behalf of India Tourism Mumbai and my personal behalf, I wish you all a happy Vijayadashmi and welcome you to the fourth session of storytelling series by the regional level guides of Western region. We have been bringing a series of webinars on the theme storytelling by the regional level guides of Western region to talk about the unique experiences the region offers, including some places of interest. Before I let me give you a brief housekeeping announcement to have a better understanding and also to give you off so that there is a seamless uh, process of webinar going and the banter and coming back telling experience and telling the support of so plus travelers understand why they should visit a place. Uh, I have been stressing over various past episodes on how storytelling and tourism go hand in hand. In fact, many tourism organizations are for that matter hotels are also resorting storytelling about it and records and the regional level guides over the past period through their experiences have mastered this art. In fact, all good stories don't have to be the ones that come from good old days. They can be found in the places that have magic to capture even back in our hearts. And such a place is Matunga, a wonderful melting point of all the various cultures of people who come to Mumbai. Matunga is a place that is synonymous with warmth, be it the flower market or the numerous places to eat. Matunga that has many a story to tell. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to this beautiful little niche of like Matunga, every place we visit has some story, and being aware and understanding the stories linked to these places adds up to overall experiences of the visit to a particular place. Today, there are various mediums to tell stories, but nothing like listening to the one sitting before a storyteller. Thanks to technology that we have before us, our storyteller, Ms. Lakshmi Kishore. Ms. Lakshmi Kishore is a licensed regional level tourist guide from Mumbai, working for past 17 years. She has worked with inbound tourists and universities coming to India from across the world. She has also worked as a accompanied guide traveling along with groups to different travel destinations in India. Lakshmi has been involved in social service since an early age and is also a pranic healer. For those of you who have joined today, I thank you for taking your time. And I suggest you grab a cup of filter coffee or a coffee because the aroma of Matunga is all set to roll with Lakshmi's story. Lakshmi, over to you now. And thank you. We look forward to a great session.
Thank you, sir. Can you all hear me? Namaste, namaskar.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Vanakkam. Thank you to all the viewers. Welcome to all the viewers. Tamil Matunga. I'm going to tell you the story of Tamil Matunga. Matunga is a place in Mumbai city developed in the early 20th century. As this area was predominantly inhabited by the migrants from South Indian states, mostly Tamilians, the topic for today is Tamil Matunga. Of course, along with the Tamilians, I'll also be speaking of the other communities who have played a vital role in the development of the area. Next slide, please. This is the present day map of Mumbai city, the capital of the state of Maharashtra and the financial capital of India. In the map, in the southernmost tip is Kolaba, which is the iconic gateway of India. In the center of the map, you see Dadar, and just above Dadar is Matunga. So we are going to talk about this area, Matunga. So the distance between Gateway of India and Matunga is about 13 kilometers. Next slide, please. So let's know Matunga. I'll start how this Matunga actually came. The rapid growth of Bombay's commerce and congested, unhygienic living in the city led to the outbreak of the bubonic plague of 1896. So in response, the British government formed the Bombay Improvement Trust to improve the sanitary and living conditions and to accommodate over 2 lakh people. This trust was entrusted the task of developing the first well-planned area of Mumbai, the Dadar Matunga Wadala Sion scheme. Yes, the Dadar Matunga Wadala Sion is the first well-planned area of Mumbai. 440 acres of land was procured. And in this way, the Dadar, the Hindu and the Parsi colony in Dadar and the Tamil Matunga was developed as a part of this plan. Areas were demarcated for the white-collared working class and the blue-collared laborers. Houses were 2 to 3 stories or single-room chawls. The Eastern Avenue, a broad road, is today called as the Ambedkar Road. We've all traveled in that road. This broad road was made to separate the public and the private space. So on one side of the Ambedkar Road is the quaint Fai Garden area of the Parsis, and on the other side is the Tamil Matunga and the Dadar Hindu colony. Next slide, please. Marubai Temple. The story of Matunga begins with the Marubai Temple. Now you already know that I've already told you about the plan that was laid. So Marubai is the Gram Devi of the Agri or the salt pan workers and the coolies who are fishermen to whom this land of Matunga belonged. The Gram Devi was earlier worshipped under a tree on the main road where the British planned to make the Ambedkar Road or the broad Eastern Avenue. When the temple was sought to be removed, the local Sarpanch agreed but requested the British to reserve another place to make a temple for Marubai Devi. This temple you see in the picture was thus constructed for the locals by the British in the present spot in 1901. In the slide on the right side, you can see the divine Marubai Devi. Maru means death and Bai means mother. So it's believed that this goddess protected the people of the area from unforeseen death. Next slide. So this is the present day structure of the Marubai temple, where His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Shri Jayendra Saraswati of Kanjivaram has performed Kumbhabhishekam. You can also see a picture of the 7 islands of Mumbai, the island of Matunga, and some old documents of the temple on the right side. Respecting the goddess Marubai, who is also a goddess of learning, the Sarpanch requested the British government to reserve 100 plots in the area of Matunga for educational purposes. Thus, Matunga has many educational institutions. Next slide, please. Matunga, the center of education. In the slide, you can see the educational institutions that moved into Matunga in the 1940s. On your left is the Institute of Chemical Technology, popularly known as UDCT. This college focused on training and research in the fields of pharmacy, chemical engineering, and chemical technology to cater to the bustling textile industry of Mumbai. This college is at par with the IISc and the IITs. On your top right is the famous Don Bosco English Medium Boys School, which also shifted to Matunga. Earlier it was in another area, Tardio, in a rented apartment. It then shifted to Matunga. This was built due to the vision of the Salesians of Don Bosco. Reverend late Father Aurelius Maschew was the main pillar for the creation of this school. There's a very beautiful church in the campus. Next slide, please. The two pictures on your left top and bottom are the Victoria Jubilee Technical Institute, called VJTI, which has now been renamed as Veer Mata Jijabai Technical College. Veer Mata Jijabai is the mother of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the founder of Maratha Empire. VJTI is one of the oldest engineering colleges in Asia. The college, which was earlier at Baikla, was shifted into Matunga in the 1920s. The college, founded in 1887, catered to the technical education, it started with mechanical and textile department. The plaque which you see on the screen on your left describes the event of the shifting of the college to Matunga and the generous donation of a Parsi or to the college from a Parsi philanthropist. The picture on your right top is the Khalsa College, which was established 83 years ago. This institute was a vision of Dr. Ambedkar, who promoted the idea to the Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee to establish an institute for higher learning. The Sikh leaders found this to be a very good idea, so as to popularize the Sikh culture in a non-Sikh state. Hockey Olympians Balbir Singh, Carvalho, and Gomes are all an alumni of this college. Some of the other well-known institutions in Matunga are Ruya College, Poddar College, Wellinger Institute of Management, and well-known schools are Pioneer School and Shishuvan School. Let me tell you something about the Shishuvan School. Shishuvan School is a part of the Kutchi Oswal Jain community. The philanthropists of the Kutchi community, like Shri V.L. Nappuji and Shri Hirji Bhojraj and Sons, started working towards providing education and training in various arts and culture since its inception in 1915. Those days, the organization started as Matunga Boarding. Talking about the contribution of the Kutchis in Matunga, they've also generously contributed in the development of Jain temples and parks in that area. Now we come to the picture on the bottom right. This is the SIES school. The early Tamil migrants who moved to Mumbai took up jobs as stenographers or they worked in the cotton mills. When the population of the Tamilians increased, they formed a society called the South Indian Association. It was an association. This association, it felt the need for imparting education to the citizens, and then they formed the South Indian Society. And this led to the formation of the South Indian Education Society in 1932, or the SIES school. Beginning with just 2 students studying in a garage, this esteemed institution has now more than 4,000 students. Next slide, please. Asthiga Samaj or Kochi Guruvayur. So now you've already heard how the South Indians have come to Mumbai for their jobs. We've seen the development of Matunga and so many migrants coming into from south. So along with them coming to Mumbai, they also brought along with them the temple culture. One of them that I'm going to start with is the Asthiga Samaj or Kochi Guruvayur. Kochi means mini or small, tiny in Malayalam, and Guruvayur is the Krishna temple in Kerala. So Asthiga Samaj is revered as mini Guruvayur in Matunga. This temple was started by the migrant Tamils with just a photograph of Lord Sri Rama in the early 1920s. With time, the temple grew and was later consecrated in 1953 by His Holiness Jagat Guru Sri Shankaracharya of Kanji Kamakoti Peetham. You can see on your top left a Gopuram, which is a monumental entrance tower of a Hindu temple in Dravidian architecture. The Gopuram is decorated with painted sculptures of gods from stories of Hindu mythology, which you can see on the top right side. Inside the temple sanctorum, under a banyan tree, we have Lord Ganesha, who is the remover of obstacles. Within the Vimanas of the temple are the idols of Sri Rama, Lakshmana, Sita Devi, Hanumanji, and in whose praise we celebrate the Ramanavami festival for 9 days. There's also a sanctum inside the temple of Lord Guruvayurappa, which is in a very typical Kerala architecture. Here, Lord Krishna Jayanti and Vishu are celebrated in Lord Guruvayurappa's praise. We then have a sanctum of Lord Ayyappa, who we call as Dharma Shasta. Every year during December, January, the Kerala Nurni village migrants who have come to Mumbai conduct a religious function called Shasta Pradi in this temple. As per the Kerala tradition, prayers are offered in Tantric style for both Lord Guruvayurappa and Lord Ayyappa. There's also a sanctum for Lord Kartikeya, in honor of whom we have the Skanda Sashti festival. The Shiva Linga and the Navagraha form a part of this temple. And the prayers in the temple are also in Vedic and Agamic practice. To your bottom right is a picture of a Havan. And bottom left is a priest placing the Shadari on the head of the devotee, which means Sharanagati, an ultimate surrender to God. The next slide. South Indian Bhajana Samaj. Here's another story. The picture shows the beautiful Gopuram of the temple and prayers in progress inside the temple. Thanks to the priest who posed for a photograph. Luckily, I had this in my collection. He's dressed in the traditional South Indian Veshti. The story of this temple dates back to 1920s when migrant South Indians from Tamil Nadu, especially from Tanjore, started this as a public gathering space for singing devotional songs. The first portrait of Lord Rama was purchased from their hometown. The devotees slowly developed the temple to the present form. In the sanctum of this temple, there's a shrine of Navagraha and goddess Rajarajeshwari. One can see ladies chanting Lalita Sahasranamam in groups when you go into the temple, especially on Tuesdays and Fridays. This is a chanting in praise of goddess Durga. The special attraction of visiting this temple is seeing the idols placed on a golden swing. Participating in the Ramanavami festival conducted in a very musical style in this temple is a must-see. You will surely get mesmerized by the spiritual discourses and the enchanting bhajans that happen here. The bhajans, dance, and music recitals are conducted in the entrance of the temple. Small functions are held in the hall of the temple. So the temples also come with a small hall for conducting functions, just like this temple and the previous temple that I showed. They have a hall there for such small functions. Next slide, please. Can I have the next slide? Sri Shankara Madam. Shankara Madam is a religious temple and a Vedic school imparting the knowledge of Advait philosophy taught by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. The beautiful temple we see in this picture had the Kumbhabhishekam conducted by Shankaracharya of Dwarakadish in 1978. The temple stands tall today due to the vision of His Holiness Jagadguru Paramacharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. There's a story for this temple too. The story goes that Paramacharya envisioned a potential in two scholars. One was Subramanya Shastrigal, a migrant to Matunga, and the other was Raja Acharya Venkateshwara Dikshadhar, a Sanskrit scholar who came to Mumbai. Jagadguru Paramacharya advised Subramanya Shastrigal to continue his Veda classes, which he was pursuing in those days. Dikshadhar, who was actually proceeding to Jaipur to take up a job, was asked by Jagadguru to take up the job in Mumbai instead. So he took up the job as head of the Department of Sanskrit in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. These two came together and then they started working towards establishing the Shankara Madam in Matunga. And this hard work started since 1940. Initially, the Madam was operating on the same street, but in a different venue. To the right side of the slide, you can see the popular Rangoli called Kolam in South India, which is an auspicious form of drawing. The kolam is made from a paste of soaked raw rice and the designs are hand drawn. The columns are also drawn with dry rice powder. Here I would also like to add that our friend Kamala Mami, who is also staying in the same neighborhood, has been drawing kolam for this temple for many decades. In South Indian homes, the day starts by sweeping the entrance of the house and sanctifying the entrance with a kolam. Similarly, the area where the religious and social ceremonies take place also start with drawing of a kolam. In Shankara Madam, we have the Sanskrit and the Veda classes conducted regularly. Devotees come to do Surya Namaskaram in the temple. A must-visit time to the temple is during Navaratri, and South Indians celebrate Navaratri and they call it as Golu. The picture on the right top, just above the column, depicts a Golu arrangement. The Golu dolls represent gods, celestial beings, human and animals, and they are placed in a step-like structure. There's also a map in the slide, and this map depicts all the places where Shankaracharya has gone on Padayatra. And there's a man cutting small pieces of wood, which is used as, for lighting the Homakunda. Next slide, please. Here you can see the Chandi Homam in progress. A Homakundam or a Havan Kund to invoke the gods, and a photograph of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. And the photograph below Sri Adi Shankaracharya is on the way to the temple, inside the temple, where his entire life history has been shown. Another festival celebrated in this temple is Shivaratri, when Vedic chanting is done throughout the night. The temple is also a meeting point for South Indian priests. Next slide, please. Sri Vasavi Kanyaka Parameshwari Temple. This is a temple consecrated by Kanchi Shankaracharya in the year 2000. The presiding deity Kanyaka is a symbol of peace and non-violence. There's also a sanctum dedicated to the 8 forms of goddess Lakshmi. Unmarried girls pray here for getting a compatible life partner. Next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah, Matunga, a flower paradise. So when we say Matunga, what comes to the mind is the pictures of the temples and the sight and smell of beautiful flowers. With the growth of the temples and the devotees, people from Tamil Nadu migrated to Matunga to set flower shops here. Locals fondly call them as Thambi, or younger brother, or Annachi as elder brother. These migrants settled in Matunga labor camp and initially sold flowers on the pavements near the temples. Gradually, the flower market flourished and the shops were all set up by 1966. The flowers in the flower market are procured from Nasik in Maharashtra and from South India. The flower sellers make beautiful garlands using flowers strung. They string it with banana stem fiber and cotton thread. One of their speciality is making the flower hair decoration for South Indian bride. This decoration is called as Jada Shingaram. All women in South India love to adorn their hair with jasmine and Kanahambaram flowers. The market is very famous for decorations in the temples and social events. The flower sellers conduct their own Ganesh Chaturthi festival, and every day the decoration of the pandals, they change with flowers, and it's a must-see. While I'm talking about the Ganesh Chaturthi of the flower market, one must not miss visit seeing the GSB Ganesh Chaturthi Pandal, which is also close by to Matunga. Next slide, please. In this slide, you can see the articles made with coconut leaf for decorating houses, mainly entrances, called Toranam or Toran. You can see bowls on the left top. They are made with coconut leaf and they are used to offer the prasad to the god. We call it as Naivedyam. Next slide, please. Religious shopping and healing destinations. So along with the temples and the flowers, now comes the need for some religious shopping. The Canara stores, you can see that it was set up so early in the 20s by Mangaloreans. All puja items, medicines, and Ayurvedic items are sold here. We can also see a Ayurveda center on your right top, the Kottakkal Arya Vaidya Shala. Here, Ayurvedic treatments and therapies are done. Below the photo of the Arya Vaidya Shala is the famous incense stick shop set up in 1956. Acharya products, they're also from Mangalore. At any point of the day, if you go to the shop, you'll find an eager line of customers waiting outside. Next slide, please. Giri trading. What we see here on the right side, you can see it written, Giri trading. Giri trading is an Indian retail and online company selling products for religious ceremonies and related books. So that's the stock of books you can see on the slide. In 1950s, the owner, Sri TVS Giri, decided to start the business of buying and selling books through a tiny outlet, and that was here in Matunga. They have now grown and they have many branches. Today, this is a one-stop shop for all devotees before all religious functions. Also seen on the right side bottom, below the Giri stores, the right side bottom picture is a shop selling items for religious needs. These are shops that are an integral part of every temple. Next slide, please. So after the religious tour of Matunga, it's now time for a tumbler of coffee or filter coffee. Both these shops in the slide are over 75 years old. Mysore concerns, where freshly ground and roasted and ground coffee powder is available, and the aroma of the coffee powder floats all the way till the next street. In Tamil, we say Adutha Teruvuvara. Annapurneshwari stores. They sell spice powders made in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and also homemade exclusive South Indian savories made by enterprising ladies. In the picture, you see savories mostly made by rice and gram flour. Next slide, please. These are visuals of shops inside the LBS market. So we are now going into the topic culinary taste buds. You can see Tamil and Kerala shops selling some typical items like banana chips, plantains from Kerala called Nendraparam, and there are about 8 Kerala shops inside the market. Next slide, please. On your right top is the Sharada Bhavan boarding and lodging. Here you can find mouth-watering snacks like potato bonda, kadhi vada, and other snacks being served by the waiters wearing a traditional white dhoti or a veshti. Another of their famous establishment is the Amba Bhavan Coffee House. Below the picture of the Sharada Bhavan, we see A. Ramanayak's Udupi Sri Krishna boarding, which is the first Udupi hotel in Mumbai. Sri Ramanayak started his career in Mumbai as a cook in various small eateries. Thereafter, in 1942, he opened his own restaurant to serve South Indian meals. Well, not much has changed in the working of the restaurant. His son Satish says the restaurant also used to serve food on a monthly basis to its customers in those days for 4 rupees 50 paise. So people could buy a pass like a railway pass to eat at the Udupi Sri Krishna boarding. This restaurant, hence, was a major boon for migrants from the Madras Presidency. Most of the hotels in those days were caste-based or religion-based. Names like Hindu Hotel, Irani Hotel, Islami Hotel, and Brahmin Hotel was common. Sri Ramanayak, who was a socialist, decided to name it as Udupi based on the name of his town in the present-day Karnataka. Thus, the birth of the usage of this popular term, Udupi Hotel, came. The other hotels owned by the Nayaks in Matunga are Cafe Mysore, of which we'll talk a little later, Idli House, and Nayak and Sons. Now, apart from meals, the restaurants are also selling snack items like idli vada, dosha, coffee, and lot more. So there are so many South Indian restaurants in Matunga that one can have idli in one restaurant, dosha in another, and coffee in the third. At least I do that. Cafe Mysore on your top right is a favorite haunt of industrialist Sri Mukesh Ambani. Just below Cafe Mysore, you can see Ram Ashraya. My recommendation is don't miss the Bisibeli Bhat there. Next slide, please. On your left is Ananda Bhavan, which is famous for its Pesaret. Cafe Madras, which you see on this right side of the slide, is operating since 1940. You can get good South Indian snacks, savories, coffee powder, and fresh coffee decoction in a pouch. So in case we have forgotten to put the filter coffee at home, on right top, you can see pouches in which you can buy the fresh decoction. Notable hotels missing in this slide and in the other slides, but which people remember fondly with a nostalgia, which are no longer in Matunga. I'm going to give you a list of that. The Tanjavur menu hotel of the hotel concerns and the Palakkad Iyer menu at Hotel Society was a favorite of every South Indian bachelor who came to Mumbai and still fondly remember it. Hotel Concerns has long back pulled down its shutters, and Hotel Society has now been taken over and renamed as Mani's Cafe, and it has got relocated to Chembur at Mumbai. Next slide, please. I know all of you are waiting for this. Famous for South Indian snacks and vegetables. Top left is the picture of the South Indian meal served on a banana leaf at Udupi Ramanayak. I told about his story earlier. South Indians also call a meal served on a banana leaf as Ella Chapadu. The dishes served on a banana leaf, on this banana leaf, include rice, chapati or puri, sambar, rasam, God Saraswat Brahman dal, vegetables, papad pickle, curd, and buttermilk, and sweets. The best experience of eating at Ramanayak is with your hands. S-P-O-O-N, spoon. One cannot reserve seats to eat at this restaurant. Tables here are arranged in straight lines, replicating the way food is served in temples. There are options of unlimited and limited meals for which coupons have to be purchased. Below the banana leaf meal is a picture of doshe or dosha, served with chutneys and sambar. There are many varieties in dosha like Mysore masala dosha, rava dosha, dil khush dosha, to name a few. Upma chutney on your top right. And to end it all, a filter coffee. The filter coffee is seen served in a glass, and the vessel below, we call it as davara. In fact, you will enjoy watching the server artistically pouring the coffee from a height into a tumbler and creating a froth before he serves it to you. Next slide, please. It's such a pleasure for the South Indians to shop at the Matunga Bhaji market to buy some of the special South Indian vegetables. Bhaji in Marathi is vegetables, and even South Indians call it as Matunga Bhaji market. Root vegetables of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, small onions called sambar onion, tapioca from Kerala, different varieties of bananas, banana leaf, banana stem, banana flower, all kinds of pumpkins and snake goat can be seen in the picture. Name it and we'll find it in Matunga. You can also see 94-year-old vegetable vendor. His name is Babulal. He's from Uttar Pradesh, but he knows the names of all the vegetables in the local language, local Tamil language of Matunga, you know, the localites of Matunga. And he says he learned it from the Tamil customers. Next slide, please. the South Indian fashion destination. There are shops in Matunga pre-1940s selling Kanjivaram silks, Chettinad cotton, and Madurai chungadis. The sari shops, Lakshmi Silk and Mahalakshmi stores are very famous. The sale is conducted in a very traditional way, with the salesman displaying the saris to the customers while they sit cross-legged on the mat. We call it as pirpai. The shop owners are Ayyangars and the Chettiyars from Kanjivaram. Look at the picture of the colorful Kanjivaram saris in our next slide. Along with the colorful Kanjivaram saris, you can also see South Indian jewelry stores. The shops, Mangalore Jewelry and Lakshmi Jewelry, both set up in the 30s, are famous for corals, diamonds, and Kemp jewelry. The shopkeepers are from Mangalore and Andhra Pradesh. Along with these shops, I would also like to mention about P.P. Krishnan Kutty and Sons, set up in 1938, also a very popular shop, jewelry shop in Matunga. Next slide, please. The South Indian Recreation Center. South Indian culture is closely associated with Carnatic music, classical dance forms, art, culture, and theatre. This picture of Shanmugananda Hall, run by the South Indians, is a center for performing arts and a school for culture. With a seating capacity of 3,000, it hosts many music and dance programs. The Bharatiya Music and Art Society and the Mysore Association are other such centers in Matunga. Sri Rajarajeshwari Bharatanatyam Kala Mandir, teaching Tanjore style of Bharatanatyam, has also been in Matunga pre-independence era. Matunga is also very famous for sports and recreation. The Indian Gymkhana, which was initially managed by the South Indians, is very famous, and cheering in the Ramu Memorial Basketball Tournament hosted at the Gymkhana, cricket matches with other clubs of Mumbai, and of course, savoring the uttapams at the Gymkhana canteen are a must for every Matungite. Next slide, please. The Rajnikant launcher. We are now at the last two slides. This is the old-time Aurora Talkies, which has been screening movies since 1940s. It's also famous for screening Tamil movies. Rajnikant, also known as Superstar or Talaiva, is the heartthrob of millions of fans. When his movies are released in Aurora Talkies, there are huge cutouts of Talaiva, more than 50 feet high, outside the theatre. A Rajnikant film normally begins at 6 a.m. in the morning and continues till midnight. The fans dress up in the roles played by Rajnikant, and you can see a group of college students posing for a photograph to enjoy the thrill of a Rajnikant movie. The joy and excitement of a Rajnikant movie in Aurora Talkies has to be seen to be believed. Next slide, please. Here we see the excitement at 6 a.m. in the morning outside Aurora Talkies screening Rajnikant movie. The female fans of Rajnikant are preparing pongal, which is a sweet dish made with rice and jaggery. This is their way of celebrating the superstar. As you see, that many migrants came to Mumbai to earn a living. Through all the stories that I've told you, you've seen that they have come here they flourished here and gratefully imbibed the local culture as well. In turn, they have left a lasting legacy of their own culture for posterity. My family is also very grateful to Mumbai, as my own maternal grandfather and my father began their careers in Mumbai. We come to the end of today's story, the Tamil Matunga. But before I end, I must say a thanks. I feel honored and thankful to be a storyteller on the platform provided to me by India Tourism Mumbai. I thank Parul for the support system, and thanks to all the patients, all the viewers for a patient hearing. This story could not have been possible without the help of the committee members of the temples, my family, relatives, friends, and well-wishers who have all provided me with the facts and snippets of Matunga. Barring only one or two photographs shown in the slides, all the pictures have been clicked by me. And a special thanks to my nephew for sharing the photos in Rajnikant launcher slide when he went to Aurora Theatre with his friends to view the movie Darbar. And it was this January 2020. Thank you very much. Nandri, Vanakkam, Namaskaram.
So, okay, that was a wonderful insight, Lakshmi. You took us to Matunga roads. Actually, I think there is a bandwidth problem with Venkateshan sir. So by the time he joins in, I'll take some questions which the participant had for you. Can you elaborate where does the name Matunga comes from and what is its meaning?
Well, what I have read is that there was a sage called Matangeshwar who has meditated in this area because there were many trees there and it was more, at that time, he has meditated and from there the name Matunga has come. This is what I have read.
I think sir
So
has
it could
joined
have
in.
come from the name Matangeshwar.
Okay.
Yeah, Parul, thank you so much. In fact, I've been able to connect again on the.
Yes, sir. I was just going through the question array. Okay, Lakshmi, there is one more question which a participant had asked in. Which restaurant is good for Rasam Vada?
I would go to Sharada Bhavan.
Yeah. Okay. Just a second now. What are the temples timing generally? Hina Palaja is asking.
Yeah, the temples are open till 11 in the morning and 4:30 in the evening from 4:30 to 9. So it's closed in the afternoon. After between 11 and 4:30, the temple is closed.
Okay.
Parul, can you hear me? Hello.
So are you able to reconnect in? So you are unmuted, Venkat. So you are unmuted. You can.
Parul? Totally disappointed.
I'm really sorry for this. I think Adi is reconnecting in and he's having some network issues at his end. So Miss Anuradha is raising her hand. I'm just unmuting her. Anuradha, if you can hear my voice, you can ask him the question.
Parul, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. In fact, my apologies. We have been experiencing a bandwidth issue today, and I was not able to kind of conclude earlier. In fact, Ms. Lakshmi, I've been able to join through phone and has been listening through your to your presentation. In fact, at some point, I was thinking Matunga is an attraction in Mumbai, but after hearing from you, it has kind of become a destination in itself. It has all the facets of a perfect destination and and give an experience to traveler in terms of experience the culinary heritage of the South India and also the shopping, textiles, and the groceries and all that you had mentioned. It was an amazing experience for us. In fact, for somebody who has moved into Mumbai recently, it's something which has to be visited. And thank you for your extensive research and also putting together this amazing photographs. And I can see the comments that have been coming across from all our viewers today. And many of them have informed that they would like to visit Matunga after listening to this. In fact, I have somebody who has joined in from all the way from Trinidad and Tobago, from Port of Spain, who writes to me that listening to Lakshmi and seeing this webinar, she would like to visit Matunga during her next visit to Mumbai. Thank you
Definitely.
once again for your excellent presentation and the time that you spent collecting and researching all the must-see places and making it an experience in itself. Like Matunga can be called an experience for all those visiting Mumbai. Yeah, Parul, you can go ahead with questions because I'm on the phone. I may not be able to see some questions. In case there are questions, please allow unmute people and let them speak.
Okay,
Thank
sir. There is one question by Mr. Arvind. Is Ramanayak still open?
I went last week to click some pictures. I think because of safety norms, they are only giving on parcel. It wasn't open to go in and eat.
Okay. Which is the good coffee South Indian brand to look for in the market? The question is by Mr. Sachin.
South Indian brand, the Mysore concerns, where you can buy roasted and powdered coffee powder. That's the best shop.
Okay, Mr. Amod, you are unmuted. You can ask your question. You have raised your hand.
Hi, Lakshmi. It was
Hi.
nice to hear you. This is one of the most beautiful webinars I've seen. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to ask if Karnataka Sangh is still open.
Karnataka Sangh is open, yes.
Okay, wonderful. I remember my college days. So
Yeah,
it was
because
nice meal there
but
too.
it is on the other side of Matunga.
Okay. This side also there was. Okay.
That is,
Thank you.
this side is Mysore.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is
Thank you.
Sudarshan. Sorry, what would be the Tamil population in Matunga?
Now they have all shifted because they've left these temples and the culture, and they come back to Matunga. The chawls have all broken, and new high-rise apartments have come, and most of the Tamilians have shifted to Dombivli, Mulund, Chembur. So I think hardly it's less than 100.
But the outlets are still there.
Everything is still there. They still come back to the same temples to do all their pujas or the events, but the Tamilians have shifted to other places. especially Dombivli, as I said, the other places like Dombivli, Mulund, Chembur.
It was a wonderful presentation. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I think there are no more questions left in chat box at present.
Thank you again, Lakshmi, for this wonderful journey that you took us to today, this evening. And in fact, as I said, Matunga has to be a kind of an experience for people visiting Mumbai, and you have really shown the various facets of Matunga, which has all the ingredients to keep a traveler engaged. And with this, I would like to thank you again for taking time, agreeing to be a storyteller for our piece. And this series will be available on the Facebook page of also those of whom who have missed it, or you can share it with your relatives, etc., so that the story of Matunga goes around. And I once again thank our technical host and supporter Arul for kind of coordinating with Lakshmi, the drive,
Thank you,
and
sir.
also standing for me at the time of the. I also thank all of participants who joined support, and we continue the stories from other parts of the region. And on 30th, we have Mr. Amod, who will be taking an ancient temple of Flora. And thank you everyone. And this thank you again, Lakshmi. And Parul, we can
Thank
end the
you.
session, please. Thank you.